Star Trek: The Next Generation was a show. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Everybody I interact. A show that I started watching when I was a really little kid. Can you believe it's been 30 years? Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Star Trek: The Next Generation was my life.
I really grew up with this show.
My relationship to how I should conduct myself. It was the escape from reality. Welcome to Next Generation's First Generation, where Patrick Delmore and Sascha Schaudies take a look back into their favorite childhood show, Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is where we attempt to reconcile how we felt as children watching the show and looking back as old farts now in our late 30s, almost 40s. Guests, social commentary, and good old-fashioned shade-throwing on our favorite and least favorite episodes. Here comes Patrick and Sascha. Oh, I almost forgot. This is a watch-along podcast, so make sure to queue up your favorite DVD or Netflix, and we'll give you the countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to basically watch along with the episode.
Welcome to the 8th episode of Next Generation's First Generation, where we will watch probably the most popular non-bug explosion episode of Season 1, Justice.
Dun dun dun! I am Sascha Schaudies, your co-host, along with
Patrick Delmore, your other co-host.
And this episode aired on November 9th, 1987. I was 8 years old.
I was somewhere being 5, learning all about fall and where mice go when they hibernate.
Aww.
And pumpkins, apparently.
So this episode, Justice, is a very interesting episode. A lot of young men will remember it from the scantily clad people running back and forth. For the nerdier types, this is a prime directive episode where they try to learn exactly when they can interfere. But it's a lot of fun all around. And the episode flirts with killing Wesley, which we all kind of piqued our interests. So, without further ado, we are watching this on Netflix. That is the digitally enhanced version, but the SD version is just as good. So you can watch along with us. And we'll give you a quick little countdown, so get your remotes ready. And we'll start the episode in
0,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
The new planets look really good.
I know.
Here's a great shot of Picard. Very typical early seasons camera footage there. If you recognize the men in con there on the left, that is our Lieutenant Carey from Star Trek Voyager.
Her delivery on that line is just great.
Sorry,
Troy. Big Red's turn now. Mom said don't call yourself Big Red for Captain Picard when I'm sitting here. Wesley's sitting on the rumble seat.
Crew change. There goes Carrie.
Sounds wonderful for the children. The holodecks are marvelous, of course, but there's nothing like open spaces and fresh air.
But fresh air doesn't do what the holodeck can do.
Nope.
Fairly simple, common sense things.
They're wild in some ways, actually puritanical in others. Neat as pins, ultra lawful. They make love at the drop of a hat.
Wait, that's
lawful.
That's puritanical?
Any hat, yeah.
But the happiest report has its negatives. Let's start with them, number one. There are none, sir. None that any of us could find.
So they're discussing all the problems on why to beam down to the sex
I'm
planet.
reading something off the starboard bow, but there was nothing there.
I'm really interested to see how this looks on HD. Because you could definitely see, like, there is a square where this thing is matted in on the SD version.
Ah.
No, sir.
If you approve, surely, sir. We could start with a small group.
Hey, I can see Tasha's nipples there.
What?
I'd like you to join the away team to evaluate this planet as a place for young people to
Now, change your clothes. They're going to think you're in the Bajoran militia.
observations concerned report. Of course I'll approve it.
That's a proud mom.
Yeah.
To have your son on the bridge.
Just how
Proud mom, have your son on the bridge. It's like, this is really, them sending him to this planet is the equivalent of, you ain't a man till you had a woman.
Oh.
Wesley, get your butt down there.
So this episode was directed by James L. Conway. The story was by Worley Thorne and Ralph Willis. Interesting to know that the writer John D. F. Black originally pitched the story, but after Worley and Gene modified it, Thorne wrote the script, and because of the change of the story, Black chose to receive the credit under the pseudonym Ralph Willis. So for whatever reason, he did not want his original name on the credits.
I'd love to hear what the original version of this story was.
Well, I can read that for you.
Ooh.
So originally, I'm on the good old-fashioned Wikipedia here, by the way, folks. And if you ever want to get good information on a story, you can also check out Memory Alpha and Memory Beta. Those are two great repositories for Trek trivia. So the original story pitched was a feature about capital punishment. His idea was based on a film treatment detailing the colony planet of Laurelaroth, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, where capital punishment is handed down for a sentence of any offense. Then it goes on to say that a security officer was killed by a local law enforcer, who then killed himself by his partner for unjustly killing an Enterprise crewman. And then it turned into rebel factions and yada yada yada. And so they decided first thing they're going to do is they're going to sex up all the players.
The colors on this are incredibly vibrant.
It pops. And they are on the UCLA Berkeley campus, I think, which I do know they use a set a lot for Starfleet Academy. Yeah.
Careful, sir. Now it's all right, Lieutenant. Those are the Edo we met before.
And everyone jogs. I'd love to see Speed Walker on here. Speed Walker!
Yeah, Speed Walker was a character that was actually played by Bill Nye the Science Guy, in case people listening did not grow up in the state of Washington.
It was on a great show. It was a comedy short in a larger program called...
Almost Live.
Almost Live, that's right. Also, Pat Cashman in it, too.
Yeah.
Welcome this lovely one.
Pat Cashman was the voice on Bill Nye that goes, uh-huh.
Yup.
He had an amazing morning show.
Nice to see you again.
I bet they have an amazing morning show. Ba-dum-ching! How's that for a transition?
Oh, she doesn't hug a lot.
No.
See, I actually really like this because you have a very... Exactly, a highly sensual person greeting the reserved crew.
Yeah.
And
she came from a planet where the word consent didn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm. And nobody knows how to be
one of
touched.
my favorite lines. I will have this huge one.
And actually, Worf has a very tough time with sex throughout the entire show, and also in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Because he's very Puritan. He's everything's formal by the tradition. Oh, poor Wes.
Yeah, Will Wheaton said in interviews on this that he was just as uncomfortable in this scene as Wesley appears to be.
Yeah. A handshake will do.
Yeah. I bet her real hair looks a lot nicer than that hair.
Oh, yeah. So, these characters here look amazingly Aryan, and the interesting thing about that is to genetically engineer a race that's Aryan, they are all, what did you say, recessive
Yeah, that's
traits?
all, being blonde hair, blue eyes are recessive traits, not dominant traits.
And you.
What really made me uncomfortable as a child watching this wasn't necessarily the sex, but I was aware that it's a planet full of white people with blonde hair, and we had an episode maybe about 3 or 4 episodes ago where it was nothing but black people.
Yeah,
And-
who were jerks.
Yeah.
As opposed to this is the nice planet. Everybody's super nice. The best thing you could say about Luton's planet from that episode is that it was a matriarchy.
Yeah.
That the women ruled.
That was very cool. I did like that.
Lead the way.
Of course they can run. And off they go.
Running.
Over the bridge, under the dam, looking for berries for jam.
Where's Grandma's house?
Yeah. Tiny bridges over streams.
Oh, there's an old lady there. Cool.
That's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice that before. That is a beautiful building.
It is. Fountains. Get out of the fountain. Oh, there's one of the white fences that we're going to hear about in a minute.
Good health. I thought you might be our friend.
We may surprise you in a lot of ways.
We brought you a new friend. Well, hello.
I'm so glad
hello.
I'm so glad they didn't sex up the kids.
Yeah.
So when I watched this too, I was a little nervous watching this with my parents in the room. Just because I knew that maybe sex wasn't something that I shouldn't be exposed to. I don't know. I was a really confused kid, but
I wouldn't have known what to make of this at 5
Yeah.
at all. I did not see it until I was probably 10 or 11, I think, either in a rerun or on a video that I got from the library. And I liked it. I mean, it made an impression on me the first time I watched it. And how can this much skin not make an impression on you? Good Lord. His legs are freaking slabs.
look at all that oil.
Well, you'd have to, because, again,
Please, enjoy what we have.
unless they have a very, very thick ozone layer on their planet, you can't go outside like that with skin like theirs and be healthy.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's, again, why it is a recessive and not a dominant gene.
Meanwhile, on the starship Boring,
It is not a
Yep.
for any
where no one is running and no one is naked.
Yep.
Captain, it's,
And a white thing with yellow eyes does exist.
exactly. As if it were neither in or out of our
Oh, they're talking about the mysterious thing off
I'm
their
very
port.
curious how this is going to look in HD. Neither in nor out. Eh? And they're panning around. That looked kind of cool.
Enterprise to object off our starboard bow. Request that you identify yourself.
There it is.
No, see, that's not so bad.
Yeah, it looks much the same.
Now, they've reused that model in season 4, maybe season 5 episode, where the crew had their memories wiped and alternate personalities inserted, and they were all made to believe they were in a war,
Yeah.
and they had to destroy this starbase.
Now running it through language and logic circuits. Jordy, sir, have a real look. Aye, sir.
So-
Again, go ahead, Sasha.
So he just asked Geordi, who uses technology to see, to go to a window and have a real look because the ship's technology could not see the object. That's a little
Yeah.
unusual.
His visor is more powerful than the ship's sensors. And also, this is a big thing for that view screen is not a window. It's a view screen.
Report to Captain.
Geordi is looking out a window where he's at. They're looking at what is essentially a video projection.
Ah, okay.
It's the closed
Spectral analysis.
circuit footage. Now, this I'm not noticing for the HD version, that there's a whole lot of difference in how
Transmission, sir.
that ship looks. I mean, it's definitely sinister. It's definitely imposing.
Sir, I see something coming out of that ship.
Verified, sir. Something very small.
Oh, this is news to me.
Okay.
I don't remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he finds data.
Yes.
Oh, look, it's one of our imagination bubbles
Yep.
from a few
Here
episodes ago.
yeah, here I think they have beefed up the effects a little bit. We'll see in a second.
Contact with our people. The true relays do show something.
Why does everything become a something or a whatever?
One of my favorite Picard lines.
Well, see for yourself, sir. That is definitely a something.
Data looks scared, but of course, Brent Spiner would tell you that he never played Data as scared, just as an android. Music is great.
Love it.
Yeah, imagine being them and being like, you know, they probably know from the aliens down there what level of loud they can be that won't kill them, but is still like just the loudest possible.
Yeah.
State the purpose of your visit here.
So sadly, this is another cliche, mysterious entity that's stronger than them.
Yeah.
To make peaceful contact here. Do you plan to leave life forms here? No.
The reason he's asking that is in the opener, Picard had said, "We just dropped a whole bunch of settlers in a neighboring planet."
Yes.
You left your own life forms there. The colony we just planted, sir. We found that world uninhabited.
There's such a big set.
We left there had sought the challenge. At least, that is the basic reason. Had sought the challenge.
Well, not every day you get to talk to a soap bubble.
Nope.
That's pretty good.
To make another Wizard of Oz joke here. Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Protects itself by seeding itself as widely as possible. Do not interfere with my children below.
Turn back, for the path that you'll take will lead to certain destruction.
Captain, do not understand how. It is asking me if I was constructed for information exchange.
And he was.
Way of finding out whatever it is out there, Data.
I'd love to see a Data and C-3PO meet up.
Who do you think would find the other more? Which do you think would find the other the most annoying?
Oh,
I mean, C-3PO is fed up with everybody after 5 seconds. Everybody, every other droid, that is. I think he loves it when humans pay attention to him.
look at that skill.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good sweater.
Yeah.
I want to do something too with you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Freak. You can tell Will Wheaton is completely freaked out by this.
Well, actually,
He's actually blushing. You can see it. That's so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, poor little guy.
It's playing ball. Will you teach me?
oh, sure. If you have a bat for the ball.
He's gonna teach you how to get to first base.
Yeah.
No.
All the way home.
A bat?
Why
are those two guys standing all the way over there? Come on.
Because they're like, maybe he doesn't like girls.
About this one on
Think.
this stick?
No, he's describing what he likes. Oh, we might be in.
I think they're all wearing moccasins too.
Yep, I noticed that when I was watching it yesterday. I mean, this would be annoying for a kid to watch, this part. Like, it's like, what are they doing? Anything fun? No, they're sitting next to each other and tittering. Tittering, tutoring,
Joy and happiness.
heavy petting.
It certainly is.
It certainly is! By gum by go.
The good life works.
We haven't learned about Reza yet.
No.
Commander, I am a warrior.
I wonder if Ryza is more risque or Ito is more risque.
Oh.
I mean, we've seen Ryza a couple of times, and both are in awful Star Trek episodes. Arguably the worst episode of Deep Space Nine
Yes.
is about Worf on Ryza.
They are quite fragile, sir.
Well,
Or if anyone else had said that, I'd suspect.
so when you look at pleasure planets, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But what's more risque is when there's a surprise. You show up.
There's always a surprise on the pleasure planet.
Don't bring your grandma.
Yeah.
This may be nothing but
There's another old guy sitting next to Troy.
including Wesley, the boy. He's outside.
So
oh,
I always-
damn it, the boy's outside.
We lost contact
I never understood why Worf was always so rigid. He could never relax, and I thought that's how Klingons were. And then you watch the Deep Space Nine episodes, and I'm like, no, that's just Worf.
Yep.
He doesn't know how to relax and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the other Klingons get drunk and throw down with everybody.
Yep. He's also super Russian, too. Don't forget that.
Russians get drunk and throw down, too.
Yes, Worf, but you've got to hear this. Are you telling me that there's no crime here whatsoever?
I love it.
No one breaks any laws?
It's a great introduction. I vividly remember this as a kid.
Long ago, there was much disorder.
Pardon me, folks. A little bit of a tickle in my throat.
Those who enforce laws?
There's no law.
Oh, we have their-
Or no crime. No crime.
They are called mediators, and they are needed only in one place.
I mean, there's stuff
Punishment zone.
like,
An area that's selected for a period of time.
you know, what if somebody just
Completely random selection.
dropped trowel and pissed on the floor, or wanted to, like, fling poo or whatever, or just, like, their thing was kicking people.
Never knows where or when a zone will be.
And so no one risks death.
Death. Well, I think the bigger thing is you don't have to worry about stepping out of line because they clearly say, here's the law, we kill you.
Yeah.
So why would you step out of line if you think you're going to get killed?
Such as ignoring
But the
keep off the grass.
but the great thing is,
No one breaks that rule.
you generate a society that is so in fear of stepping out of line and being different that everybody acts the same, everybody does the same thing.
And just who tells visitors about these rules?
Because you didn't tell us the first time we came here. Yeah, if the mediators were truly mediators, they would be the ones that would meet people first. But I guess nobody from another planet has ever come here.
Well, really, this episode's about a failure for Tasha to do her job as head of security.
Yeah.
And letting people
Because
down.
she did not learn anything. She was supposed to go down there and figure stuff out. And here it comes. Oh, dear.
This right here is the pond where Riker and Deanna and Mama Troy were kidnapped by a Ferengi.
Oh, yeah. There'll be a few episodes.
Yeah, I think that's a season 4 or 5
Yay,
as well.
frolic, frolic, frolic.
That's also where they had the park-like setting in Deep Space Nine in the first episode. Oh no. You're dead, boy. I like those pants he's wearing with the mono stripe on the side.
It's for new plants. Don't ever go past the white marker. It's okay. I'm fine.
Oh no. Oh, please no.
Now I question her response, because if she truly understood the society, she'd be like, oh, okay, he's dead.
No, because he could break the rules and it wouldn't be the punishment zone. Yeah.
But he doesn't understand.
It's always said, now doubly so.
No doubly so. Double trouble, if you will. That's our name. The double mediators.
And I fell into that. I'm really sorry.
It's conflict management 101.
Really?
I'm with Starfleet. We don't lie.
Oh,
Yeah. Bless his heart, really.
It won't happen again.
so many episodes where Starfleet has lied.
Yep.
But that changes.
He really believes in the ideal now.
He's is like when you join the Boy Scouts.
Yep.
You just think that's how it is.
Yeah.
1 moment, please. Is there a witness to this transgression?
But it was my fault. I threw the ball past him.
We have a visible transgression. Ample witnesses. And an admission.
Honestly, these guys are on it for their jobs.
Yeah.
They're being pro. They're not being
And
posturing.
And it's euthanization, too.
Yeah.
Like, they're super nice, and I mean, if you lived in that society, it's like, these would be the guys that... It'd be similar to how... I mean, this will probably open a whole can of worms. How you respectfully treat, Mormon missionaries that come to your house.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of what you're doing, but I get that you have to do it. And if you want some cookies, you can have them. But
What is this? You said death. Is this poison? But of course it is.
Honestly,
what is this? Are you proselytizing?
honestly, the Enterprise crew is acting very unprofessional.
Oh, I agree, and they do through the whole thing, and they really get a good lecture from the head of the society at the end about, like, how dare you kind of be holier than thou with us.
But of course, watching this and rooting for our side, which is the Enterprise crew, we can validate their responses. Like, it's perfectly understandable that he's angry.
Yeah. And you can add a metatextual level to this of they're on a planet where everybody has white on, and they all look the same. They wear many colors, follow many traditions. All their people look different, are distinguishably different from one another.
Now, I have to make a side comment here. Why is it sometimes we call a doctor to examine data, and why is it sometimes we call an engineer?
Well, I think, and I may be completely wrong about this, Riker and Geordi by the end of the show, know more about how data works than Crusher probably does.
Right.
Is it Wesley?
Not yet. It could be minutes or hours.
It's like, why would you use the human medical tools to figure that out through Dr. Crusher?
This reminds me of that episode where Picard was knocked unconscious and lived an entire lifetime in 40 minutes.
Yep.
And was laying on there. So I would love to see an episode of where Data's just knocked out and they're talking about everything and having all these conversations about the Edo.
So I think as far as the difference between SD and HD on this, they really brightened the colors up in the outside scenes.
All the Edo look really orange, though.
Yeah, because the lighting on the inside is not fixable, I don't think. And I'll point it out when we see the structure again. Initially, you could see the four edges of where it was put on the shot. You still sort of can, but it's not as bad. Like, they put some blue fuzz around it.
So it looks like they're about to sit down and hold court or conference.
They have like this seal here that we don't know what it means.
Thank you. We regret that our system of justice is troubling you. The boy, Wesley Crusher. Where is he, please?
In accord with the Prime Directive, I've allowed them to hold him pending the outcome of this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I really like how there's good age representation of the Edo. You have old folks in the background and young kids too.
We do. Good. So do we. Our precepts have been handed down from long ago.
This is a really sad example of how the Prime Directive is just too incompatible with the views of the people with the greater power.
Mm-hmm.
But we have learned to adjust to that. Perhaps your laws work as well.
They haven't always, but now they do.
Oh.
They execute criminals. No, not any longer.
But you did once.
Unfortunately, yes. But since then...
So this is the second episode in a row where we've laid down utopian future. In the previous episode, we don't kill animals.
It's not really utopian future, though, because they still... Picard still has a empirical mind. He refers to this group later as a child race. In a true utopian society, you don't have divisions like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So is everyone more or less libertarian and respectful of each other, would you say?
Yeah. Which is why, a utopia is never actually a utopia. It's a Potemkin village on whatever scale they're able to mount it. Like, you could come... you could come to this planet, the Edo planet, and be there for a little bit and everything seems perfect, but then, something happens and you discover that, no, it's not a perfect society.
Well, there's no such thing as a perfect society.
We labor under the idea that the Federation is infallible up until mid-Deep Space Nine. We find out they have this secret service that...
Yeah. No, Deep Space Nine really showed the underbelly of the Federation for sure.
Have you any idea what it is?
But the fact that that's 2 episodes in a row. One was the don't eat meat, and this one is the we don't kill our civilians. And so it definitely places a value system that we should look towards in the future.
Yeah. Well, Picard is such a true believer too. More so than really anybody else we've seen. And his crew follows him. Like, I mean, and he rewards them for that. He especially rewards Worf.
Yeah.
He goes above and beyond for Worf. The character that would be the most interesting to see in a show where she's not dealing with Picard is Crusher. Crusher is in love with Picard.
She is.
And so her reactions to him come from that, not from duty. So if we saw her in a universe divorced from Picard's influence, she might actually be one of the more interesting characters.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Interesting thing too that you may have missed if you're not watching along. The Ito brought up the example as talking about God, the ship orbiting the station orbiting the planet, and the Ito says, "Oh, you mean God?" And so now they've asked if one of the Ito women could go up and identify him. She looks a little nervous. There is some contemplation if they were breaching the...
So you can see the edges of the...
Oh, yeah.
In there.
So are they breaching the Prime Directive by bringing her up to the ship?
They must have warp capabilities, because that would be them going there if they didn't have warp capabilities would be a breach of the directive.
And he did ask.
Yeah.
You were about to say.
Well, since you have all this power, why be concerned about our laws? You could take the boy from us.
Very smart.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. We have to do the right thing. We can't just do what we want. They have to talk it out first.
Mm-hmm.
And really, this is the first Next Gen episode where they really have to ask that hard question. Do we conquer or do we talk?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's our lounge. Very reasonable.
Immediately genuflects.
Yeah. Reasonable response.
Do you know what that is?
She's terrified.
And...
Can you tell us what it is?
Is it God? Now, it's very important that you answer something. How do you recognize what it is?
It has appeared before in the past.
Nothing will harm you, I promise.
This is actually where I like to see Troy taking a more active role and being nice and compassionate.
Troy would be like, get her out of this room. If she was a good counselor, be like, get her out of this room right now.
Yeah, you can't
You did a really, really crappy thing, Captain. It's like, as somebody who is, has studied so much a period of Earth's history where belief in God was so important, he should understand why he shouldn't be doing this. And this is one of the few times that they make it a point for him to put a comm badge on somebody so they can be transported.
Yeah.
Normally they can just beam, because they beamed her there without a comm badge. Now stop being close to us.
Well, what's really interesting here is that they don't have much respect for religion or the fact that religion exists. But yet there's so many godlike creatures and so many value systems in the show.
No choice but to learn about that thing from her.
No choice.
I'm sorry I had to.
I think he had other opportunities.
It's understandable, sir.
Is it though, Troy?
Orbit with God is no small experience.
Yeah.
I like the episode where they went to the Proto-Vulcan planet, and they had a couple of researchers in a duck blind, and the duck blind malfunctioned, and Picard had an entire cult-like following based around him, and he had to beam down and get shot to tear that image apart. And you compare that Picard to this Picard, who...
If he were your son, you'd be as frightened of
I don't really think he knows what he's doing.
He's a new captain. The first implication that Wesley might be Picard's son.
He's checking out.
Troy, Crusher gives the "if he were your son" speech.
I was an excellent choice for them, Captain. They were able to communicate with me quite... I was about to say quite easily.
Spiritually,
About it. Fortunately, they stopped short of overloading my circuit.
Wesley sort of is Picard's son, just in the position that he occupies.
Well, he's the only real role model available Picard to Wesley, and everyone likes and wants to foster and raise Wesley, and now the family child is at risk of being killed.
Well, he picks his dad too. I mean, he could easily have picked Riker, but he sees Data and Geordi as his equals, and Riker's just kind of the jock, schoolroom jock, and Riker plays that role too. But yeah, Picard's his dad.
There's a great episode in season 2 where Picard and Wesley have to share a 6-hour shuttle ride. And Wesley just comes out and says it in a perfect teenager way. You don't like me very much, and it shows. And so they have a very brief heart-to-heart there.
Accept our presence at this planet. Undecided, sir.
Wow.
You know what would be a fun fan fiction to write?
What's that?
Go through all of the things that Data said he'd never heard about, and write a story about what his time at Starfleet Academy was like, and make it so that he never hears any of those phrases during the time he's there. He's completely ignorant of these things.
Do they know about Prime Directive?
I want to say there was a series of kids' books about Worf and Data being at the Academy at the same time.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
That's not a fair question.
If somebody knows, email,
How would they react?
please.
We've really gotten away from the plot. We apologize. So, Data is debriefing Picard on the communication between Data and the space station. The long story short is the Ito are the pet project of the space station, and that they should not interfere.
They don't want to execute my son.
And Beverly said it perfectly.
Allow that to happen, Jean-Luc.
I do not want my kid to be killed.
Interesting, sir. The emotion of motherhood is compared to all others felt by humans.
Shut up.
Yeah!
You were right, sir. I do tend to babble.
There we go.
Captain's log, stardate.
It's a very heavy episode.
Yep. It mixes it's a good mix of heavy and silly. Like a nemesis. That's going to be his true Rubicon. The planet's not just called the Rubicon. It's a real Rubicon. Will he be able to cross it? Is the die cast?
You sent for me, sir?
I sure did.
Now, that's not his quarters. This is a lounge.
Yeah. He's in an observation lab.
Oh, there's a bar in the back. I didn't notice that before.
Probably synthahol.
Level of communication, sir.
Romulan ale.
My apologies for saying that you babbled.
But I did, sir.
You also see things in a way we do not, but as they truly are.
Did Picard ever get his comm badge back? Look at that. It's missing from the shot.
Also
there.
see things in a way we do not, but as they truly are.
The problem, sir.
So in an ideal world, Picard does not believe that objectification is
How do they evaluate?
an acceptable
How do they reason?
thing. It's why It's why it's the parable of the self-driving car. It's like, could it, if there is a crowd of people in front of it and everything it does is going to involve it hitting pedestrians, you need a human brain to solve that, not a computer.
Well, that's a conversation here is what's the equation?
Say that again?
Well, here the conversation they're having, Data and Picard are kind of chewing over the rules of the Prime Directive of who has the right to decide.
Yeah.
And it's not just a simple equation, it's a matter of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, however, they have evolved considerably. Their present existence in multi-dimensions, no doubt.
And it's interesting because Data will violate Starfleet rules. He's not programmed that he absolutely has to adhere to all of the Starfleet regulations.
Did you notice that Brent Spinner's eye is looking a little red there?
Oof.
Ouch.
Yeah, poor guy.
That must have been a bad reaction to the makeup there.
Yeah.
I remember Michael Dorn was complaining of quitting the show unless they changed the type of makeup they were using.
Huh.
Having fulfilled my professional obligations regarding Commander Data.
You now request permission to beam down to the planet. Permission granted.
See, now this
I'm coming with you.
This is actually what I do like about Picard, is that he has the power and authority to just inject himself. I'm going here and we're going to talk about this now.
I will not allow them to execute your son.
Oh, he's made a decision.
Thank you.
So he's going to break the rules. He just doesn't know how.
Data, take command. I say.
Don't get up.
Stay in the lounge. Take command of the lounge. So he starts
Like,
making
that's
drinks.
another, one that we have to figure out with AI. So he told Data to take command of the ship, but when Data last saw him, he was sitting in that lounge. So where AI is at right now, it could understand that as, that's where I will command the ship from, because that's where the captain was when he told me.
He wouldn't know to report to the bridge.
Yeah. Because he didn't, and also because Picard didn't say to.
Oh, she's still wearing the badge. There we go.
Yeah.
I thought you shared the sky with God. You must be God.
Uh-huh.
She wouldn't want to touch that then. She could, put her hand on it wrong and could blow her up.
We're not gods.
It's the first of many interactions where people get it all wrong about Picard.
Hi, Mom. I've been doing bad.
I know.
Poor guy.
Look at that loincloth.
Yeah.
See a little bit of cheek there.
Butt cheek cover.
Are you going to let them kill me?
No,
Wow.
but I must find some way to prevent it that you understand. How can we let this happen?
He reminds me the security guard, Ito security guard on the left, the shorter guy there. Reminds me of somebody from Kids in the Hall.
You
Oh.
are powerful, but do not do this to us, we beg you. At least study what we were without law.
Well, they're really afraid that their society will fall apart if people can get out of being punished.
Perhaps your system of law and punishment is better than any system we once had. But
Someone once said that,
I must obey.
I think it was Churchill that said this, that democracy is the worst form of government tried so far, but the most successful, or...
Yeah.
What was that quote? Oh, it's killing me now. I have to look it up.
We are all sworn not to interfere.
It kind of reminds me of
Now, if I say
this Prime Directive business where just getting involved, you're already screwed.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
Prime Directive very seriously. No, it is God who will punish you. That thought has crossed our minds. Your God up there may insist that we obey our non-interference.
That's some heavy
Sir?
reasoning too.
Does this mean if you say...
That's awfully speculative.
Yeah.
You're not involved in this decision, boy.
It might not be. Like, the mediators might actually have a more direct line of communication.
The guarded transporter will lock into this signal. Stand by.
Well, there's some people believe they have a direct line to
Yeah.
God.
Like, if you Like, say it was another one of those kids that happened to, and the mother freaked out. Well, if they just brought her into a room where she was communication with the machine and talked to her so loud it blew up her head.
Oh, jeez.
I'm truly sorry, Leator, but I must have justice for my people too. Transporter room, energizing.
And it doesn't work.
Uh-oh.
So now
God has made his
with God
choice.
himself.
They are not leaving.
Transporter room, come in.
Can't energize the beam, sir. Everything checks out, but we're getting no results.
God has prevented your escape.
Uh-oh.
Sanctimony.
My son had no warning that his actions
No
were
God
criminal.
is fair.
We cannot allow ignorance of the law to become a defense.
Although, interestingly enough, justice does carry a pair of scales while blindfold.
That's a great analogy.
Has concerned me greatly of late. And I say to any creature who may be listening, there can be no justice so long as laws are absolute.
Yeah.
The first of many beautiful Picard speeches.
Yep.
Size and exceptions. When has justice ever been as simple as a rule book?
There we go.
Seems the Edo Lord agrees with you, number one.
So, this was a very heavy episode.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it, but it actually sets a lot of stuff in motion.
It talks about how we conduct ourselves with other civilizations. It talks about how we interact with our own kin when they're involved. It talks about how we deal with religion and capital punishment. I don't remember cracking any jokes in this commentary. Holy cow, I was so woven in with the plot.
Please tell us.
So they're saying
They're going to take the colonists that they worked so hard to put on the planet off the planet.
that's going to be a problem. Can
So-
you imagine going to all those people saying, yeah, so you just unpacked.
Yeah.
Come on back.
No, it's like, no, there's a super god out there
Agreed, sir.
who, I mean, it's not too bad. I got away with calling him a creature.
I was hoping we might learn more about it.
Though I do have to say I'm a little disappointed with how STNG encounters greater than Enterprise power. So
Oh, that planet looks so good like
Yeah.
that. I love that it's like almost like an egg shape.
I always wish that the greater than force entities that they encounter would have a little bit more coherent communication other than screaming a few directives at them and shaking the ship.
Yeah.
But this right here did do it justice. I mean, they let the Edo was able to speak for themselves, and the space station god just kind of had their back. I really like that. Well, this concludes another episode. Thank you very much for watching with us of Next Generation's First Generation. Please look forward to watching upcoming episodes on our Facebook page and iTunes. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us, and we'll read your questions on the air. And have a wonderful day.
Bye.
So you're the guest.
So Sasha,
Okay.
what is
So-
Star Trek?
Hi,
Next
I'm the
Generation?
guest.
Sascha, what is Star Trek? We're only in the first season right now, so there's a lot that's coming down the line. Let us know what episode you might like to appear on, and we'll see if we can schedule you in on the show.
You can find this podcast at Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Libsyn.com. Music credits include As Colorful as Ever by Broke for Free, Brook Branch by Evan Schaefer. Music heard in this podcast can be found at freemusicarchive.org.
If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. Do you have a podcast that you think people should be listening to? Send us your promos and we'll play them on the show. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sasha Shouties.
And if you liked this episode, the next episode is already waiting for you on Facebook at Next Generation's First Generation.
Thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful day.
Good night.